We're on the north bank of the Tennessee River, just across from Ross's Landing in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Ross's Landing is a site of a Cherokee-operated warehouse and merchant station in the early part of the 19th century. The location behind us is the site of Ross's Landing and Ross's Ferry, which is established in 1816 by John Ross and his brother. It becomes an important trading post between the Cherokee Nation and the state of Tennessee. In the early 1820s, the Tennessee River is actually an international border between where we're standing and what would have been Tennessee and the Cherokee Nation across the river. It's also the point where the federal road that ran from Augusta to Nashville crossed the Tennessee River. The road ran through the Cherokee Nation, started in the early 19th century, 1802, 1803. It runs across the Cherokee Nation and connects the Savannah River with the middle part of the state of Tennessee. This is the site of the first steps on the Cherokee's Trail of Tears. The roundup that began in May of 1838 as a result of first the Indian Removal Act of 1830 and then the Treaty of New Echota in 1835 concentrated at two spots along the Tennessee River, one at Ross's Landing and one at Blythe's Ferry. The Cherokee were literally rounded up from their houses in late May of 1838, forced to go to what can be only called concentration camps, points where families and individuals were taken by the U.S. Army across North Georgia, Northeast Alabama, Western North Carolina, Southeast Tennessee, taken first to those camps and then taken to the two major depots on the Tennessee River, the one at Ross's Landing and the one at Charleston near Blythe's Ferry. In early June of 1838, the first forced eviction happens here at Ross's Landing on June 7th. Then about a week later, a second party of Cherokee are forced onto steamboats and barges again and sent down the Tennessee River towards the Indian Territory. And by the end of June, about 1,000 Cherokee had been taken out of the camp at Missionary Ridge, taken down to the landing at Ross's Landing, ferried across right here, and then camped in this area down along the riverbank for about 4 days as the parties were ferried over and across the river, and then began the walk to the Indian Territory. In the beginning of the 21st century, a group of Chattanoogans and National Park Service representatives and members of the Cherokee Nation and the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians got together and began to think about how to commemorate the Trail of Tears here. And really the interesting thing about the decisions that were made is that the focus was on a presence and not an absence. This area has a long history of Native American presences going back 10 or 11,000 years. And what the artists from the Cherokee Nation who got the contract to do this project, what they wanted to do was to think about that long presence. They didn't want to necessarily think about the eviction. They didn't want to think necessarily about the roundups. In fact, when you talk to Cherokee about how they remember the Trail of Tears, they think of it as an incident in their history, not the sum total of Cherokee history. It's one event among many, one moment in a very, very long history. And if you think about just the raw numbers of this, there's 16,000 Cherokee, give or take, who are forced out of their lands in North Georgia and Southeast Tennessee in 1838. There are now 250,000 citizens of the Cherokee Nation. Very successful in business, very successful in politics. The leaders of the Cherokee Nation are some of the strongest proponents for Native American rights. Were very active in the American Indian movement and then the movements that came out of that. So it's a very successful nation. It's a nation that is very resilient. Some Cherokee called it the trail where they cried. The Trail of Tears moniker really becomes something of a romantic shorthand that Anglo-Americans use to describe what happened here. I think that romanticizing it by calling it the Trail of Tears sometimes I think softens the impact, the real historical experience of what happened. But I don't think that we as a people should be necessarily dwelling on that. I think that we look at it, as the Cherokee do, as an incident rather than the sum total of a people's history.